Hey everyone! Welcome back to Learn English Naturally. I'm Cheryl. Do you remember Alyssa? Last time, we talked about her incredible solo trip to Japan. She had everything planned out and had the time of her life. But let's be real. No vacation goes 100% smoothly. On her way back, things got super messy at the airport and on the plane. Have you ever bought too many souvenirs? Or been stuck next to an annoying passenger? Today, we're joining Alyssa through the airport, checking out real-life travel equipment, and learning some cool native expressions. Grab your coffee, relax, and let's jump straight into today's story. Alyssa arrived at the airport loaded with souvenirs after her amazing trip. To save time, she walked straight up to a self-service kiosk to scan her passport and print her boarding pass. So far, so good. But then came the tricky part, handling her heavy suitcase. She walked over to the check-in counter and dropped her giant bag onto the luggage scale. The check-in agent looked at the monitor, winced slightly, and gave her a sympathetic smile.
Well, your baggage allowance is 20 kilograms, but this scale says 28 kilograms. I'm afraid you'll need to sort this out. You can rearrange your items or pay an extra baggage fee.
Alyssa checked her backpack. It was already full to the brim. She had no choice. She sighed and said,
"All right, I guess I'll just have to cough up the cash."
After paying, she went through security and boarded the plane. She stowed her backpack in the overhead bin, pulled down her tray table, sank into her seat, and thought,
"Finally, I can catch some ZS."
But bad luck struck. Sitting right behind her in the next row was a family with a toddler, around 3 or 4 years old. The kid was throwing a tantrum, crying, and non-stop kicking Alyssa's seat. Bam, bam, bam. Every time Alyssa tried to lean back, another kick hit her spine. She turned around to look. The mom was calmly fixing her makeup in a hand mirror. The dad was watching movies on his tablet while sneezing up a storm, without even covering his mouth or using a tissue. They were completely oblivious to the passengers around them. Alyssa and the passenger next to her exchanged a helpless look and quickly slapped on their masks. Frustrated, Alyssa turned around and politely asked,
"Excuse me, could you ask your son to stop kicking my seat? And please cover your mouth when you sneeze."
The dad didn't even glance up from his tablet and casually replied,
"Hey, he's just a kid, what do you expect? And I have allergies, deal with it."
Alyssa was stunned. Seeing this, the friendly passenger in the window seat next to Alyssa decided to speak up.
"Hey man, that's really disrespectful. We're all stuck in this cabin together."
Just as the tension was rising, a flight attendant quickly walked over to step in.
"Is everything all right here, ladies and gentlemen? Ma'am, we actually have a few empty rows near the back. Would you two like to move to a quieter spot?"
Alyssa and her neighbor jumped at the chance.
"Yes, please. Thank you so much."
Alyssa moved to the empty row, put on her eye mask, and rested peacefully for the rest of the flight. She was so relieved and proud of herself for learning to stand her ground. Phew. What a crazy flight, right? I'm so glad the flight attendant saved the day, and that Alyssa didn't back down. Did you notice how many real-life conversations, airport equipment words, and native phrases were packed into that story? Let's break them down like we're chatting over coffee. No boring English grammar lectures here. First, let's take a quick look back at the airport itself. Before Alyssa even got on the plane, she ran into 5 super common machines and spots that every traveler sees, but almost no one knows the exact English names for. Let's start with where her journey began. That handy touchscreen machine where you scan your passport to print your own ticket? That's a self-service kiosk. Native speakers pronounce it kiosk, not kiosk. Next, when Alyssa went to drop off her heavy bags at the check-in counter, she put her suitcase on the luggage scale. That's the machine that revealed her 28 kilograms disaster. Once on board, she put her backpack in the overhead bin. Please don't call this the top box. Native speakers always say overhead bin, or just the bin for short. Then she pulled down her tray table to relax. You'll always hear flight attendants say, "Please put your tray tables in the upright position before landing." And finally, where was the noisy family sitting? In the next row. In English, a line of seats from left to right on a plane is simply called a row. Now that we've got the airport equipment down, let's talk about the native phrases from the story. These are the secret sauce. They're what turns stiff textbook English into natural, expressive conversation. Let's look at 5 awesome expressions Alyssa used. Starting with what the check-in agent told Alyssa when her bag was overweight. She said she needed to sort it out. To sort something out basically means to solve a problem or organize a situation that's a bit messy. You'll hear this all the time in daily life and especially at work. If a client emails you with a major issue, you can calmly say, "Don't worry, I'm on it. I'll sort this out by the end of the day." See? It makes you sound super responsible and in control. And speaking of that overweight bag, here comes a slightly painful one. Alyssa couldn't pack any more into her backpack, so she had to cough up the cash. To cough up the cash means to pay for something reluctantly, like when you feel forced to hand over your hard-earned money. We've all been there, right? You can use this with your friends whenever a bill comes up unexpectedly. Like, "I can't believe I had to cough up $100 for a parking ticket this morning." It's way more vivid and native than just saying I paid $100. Moving on to what Alyssa thought she was going to do once she sat down in her seat. She just wanted to catch some ZS. To catch some ZS is just a super fun, everyday slang phrase for getting some sleep or taking a nap. Think of comic books where sleeping characters have ZZZ floating over their heads. So after a crazy, exhausting week at work, you can tell your coworkers on Friday evening, "I'm heading home early tonight. I really need to catch some ZS." But as we know, her sleep was completely ruined. Why? Because the toddler behind her started throwing a tantrum. When someone, especially a child, throws a tantrum, it means they start screaming, crying, or kicking because they aren't getting what they want. It's the ultimate word for kid drama. You might tell a friend, "My 3-year-old threw a huge tantrum at the supermarket because I wouldn't buy him candy." Trust me, every parent will instantly relate to this one. And to make matters even worse for poor Alyssa, the kid's dad was right next to him sneezing up a storm. Now, when you do something up a storm, it means you're doing it repeatedly, with tons of energy or intensity. So sneezing up a storm means sneezing non-stop, loud and clear. Here's how you can use this structure in daily life when someone's sick. "My roommate has been sneezing up a storm all morning. I hope I don't catch his cold." Bonus tip. You can also say someone is cooking up a storm or talking up a storm. Super versatile, right? Awesome job. You've just picked up 5 airport equipment terms and 5 native expressions. Before we replay the story, if you love learning English naturally through fun stories, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button and subscribe. Now, let's play the story one more time to lock these words into your brain. Ready? Let's recap. Alyssa printed her ticket at a self-service kiosk and went to the check-in counter. Her bag on the luggage scale was overweight, so the agent gave her a sympathetic smile and told her to sort it out. She had no choice but to cough up the cash for the extra fee. On the plane, she put her bag in the overhead bin and hoped to catch some ZS. Unfortunately, the kid in the next row was throwing a tantrum, and the dad was sneezing up a storm while the mom was just fixing her makeup. Alyssa and her neighbor quickly slapped on their masks. When the dad refused to stop his kid from kicking her seat, a passenger spoke up, and a flight attendant quickly stepped in to move Alyssa to a quiet seat. Alyssa rested well and was proud that she chose to stand her ground. And that's how Alyssa survived her travel nightmare. What about you? What is your biggest flight pet peeve? Do you hate noisy kids or seat kickers? Tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching today's video. And remember, don't just learn it, speak it naturally. I'm Cheryl, and I'll see you in the next story. Bye.